Just a little bit before 4 o'clock. Welcome to Ironbound's Live and Home classes. My name's Stan, and we're going to do our first Facebook Live Qigong class. I'm going to assume that maybe you've never had this before, so I want to give you a little bit of an introduction to it. Qigong comes from China. It's probably, if you go back to its beginnings, around 4,000 years old. It's used in Chinese medicine. It's used in Chinese martial arts. It's also used in Chinese spiritual practices for cultivating yourself, your spirit. And Qi stands for energy or vital life force. Gong just means work or cultivation. Gong Fu means something that takes time and energy to learn, so you can have the Gong Fu of writing. We want to focus on our posture, our balance, and breathing. So the first thing we're going to do is get our foundation set up, and that's our feet. In Chinese culture, there's yin energy in the earth, yang energy in the heavens, and we're connected to both of them. We're in between, and we ground ourselves to both. So we get our feet about shoulder width apart, with our feet as parallel as you can get them. If you need to, Lisa, you need to have your toes out a little bit to make it easier on your knees and on your hips and ankles, that's okay. But part of this is you want to have energy flow through your body as efficiently as possible, blood flow as efficiently as possible, nerve signals, lymph. So you're always going to have a little bit of space under your arms, a little bit of space under the groin. Your hands are always going to have some space between the fingers. You're not going to push them together like that, except for the times when you make a fist. And even the fist is soft. You start to sink down into your feet, so you're relaxing down into it. And you start to get evenly balanced on each side, and that's the left, the right, and the front, and the back. And to get yourself really grounded so you connect down into the earth, you have acupressure points in the center of your forefoot, and it's called the K1 acupressure point, the Yongqin, or the bubbling well. It's the first point of the kidney meridian. You can visualize an energetic connection there, just solidly sealing you to the earth. The most stable connection is a 3-point stance, like a milking stool, doesn't tilt no matter what ground it's on. So you can use that visualization too. There's a lot of visualizations in this. You can use the ball of the foot at the base of the big toe, the ball of the foot at the base of the little toe, and the center of the heel, and just visualize roots growing down into the earth. Rooting is a concept that's used especially in Yang style Tai Chi. Again, it's to get you, so it's hard to get you off your feet. If that sealing your feet to the floor causes your knees to bow in a little bit, like mine do because I have flat feet, you just raise your arches up so your knees and toes are pointed in the same direction. In everything we do, our knees and toes will be pointed in the same direction, even if we're standing like this. And if we're standing like this, the knee in the front never goes beyond your toes. So we have our foundation set up, which is an invisible line around the outsides of our feet, and everything inside that rectangle is our foundation. Next, we want to get ourselves grounded to the heavens, or Tien. You have another acupressure point in the just in back of the center of the top of your head. It's called the Ba Wei. It's the crown chakra in yoga. It's the meeting of 100 places. You can visualize an energetic connection there pulling you up, or a line attached there pulling you up. It starts to make changes in your body. It stretches you upwards, makes you taller, stacks your vertebrae on top of each other, starts to change the position of your pelvis. Your tailbone drops down a little bit, your hips move back a little bit, the tops of your hips are parallel to the floor. Stomach flattens out, lower back flattens out. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you, just relax into what feels best for you. There's a 70% rule in all of this. Chinese medicine is geared towards health, and the goal is to get healthy and stay healthy. And in China, they play Tai Chi. They don't work at it or practice it. So if you can't smile when you're doing this, back off until you can. Only 70% of what you can do at this moment, not on your best day. Tops of your shoulders become parallel to the floor and they relax down the center line. When you're really stressed out, your body really tells you what you're feeling emotionally. When you're stressed out, your shoulders come up around your ears. If you're sad, they slouch forward. If you're feeling maybe a little rigid that day, you come back at attention, or maybe you were just trained to carry your shoulders that way, but it puts stress on them. So you just want them to relax down the center line, nice and soft. Principle in Tai Chi is softness overcomes hardness and flexibility overcomes rigidity. Imaginary line across your eyes and ears is parallel to the floor. If that line pulls you up, it lifts the back of your head, tucks your chin in a little bit, and maybe just moves your head back just a bit because it's trying to get your head balanced on your shoulders. And this culture where we're driving with our head forward, or we're looking at our phone with our head forward, or we're at a keyboard, oftentimes our head's tilted forward, and it gets us out of balance. Your head weighs about 10 pounds. For every inch or so out of alignment, it adds an extra 10 pounds of weight that your neck and upper back, and your lower back have to carry. And it gets you off balance and can cause pain. So one way of reducing pain is just changing your posture. Once we are balanced like this, we also want to balance in other directions too. So you drop another line from that bow waist spot right straight down through the center of your body and aim through the perineum and aim for it to hit the foundation right in the middle. So it might be equally distant from your ankles or equally distant from those bubbling wells, depending on how you're built. So at this point, you're balanced left, right, front, back. If you were to drop a line from your earlobe, it'll go through the center of your shoulder, the center of your hip, the center of your ankle. There'll be a little bit of a bend in your knees. There's also a bit of a bend in your elbows. You never fully extend or fully compress joints. There's always softness. There's a Chinese martial art called Chin Na, which is joint locking, and that's used to try to hurt and control people. So you don't want to do that to yourself. You just stay soft. And once you're in balance, you focus on the next part, which is your breathing. And it's abdominal breathing. Quick experiment you can do is put one hand on your upper chest, one hand on your lower chest, on your stomach. Middle dantian and lower dantian was what I was thinking of. And just breathe like you normally breathe and see which hand is moving the most. If it's the hand up here, that's a stress-related breath. If it's down here, that's a relaxation-related breath. And typically when we're very young, that we breathe from down here, but as we get older, it moves upwards. So as best you can, you inhale through your nose, pulling your diaphragm down, feel an expansion around the middle part of your body. On the exhale, you pull the pelvic floor up as much as you can to move as much air out as you can. So on the next breath, you can get in even more clean air. But you don't inhale as deeply as you can. 70% rule applies to that too. So just breathe however you feel most comfortable. Chinese medicine, they'd also have you touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. They see that as connecting two major energy channels in your body, one that runs down the front, one that runs up the back. Doesn't matter if you believe that or not. If you do touch your tongue there and press just right, you disengage the muscles in your jaw so you can't clench your teeth, which is really helpful if you have T and J. You can't clench your teeth when you press your tongue there. So just breathe at your own pace, making the exhale last a little bit longer than the inhale. That helps your autonomic nervous system go into a relaxation response. If you hear snoring in the background, that's my beagle Annie. She's in a relaxation response right now, just sawing logs. As you breathe, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. Tightness in your body also throws your balance off because some other part of your body has to compensate for it. So if you feel any tightness or tension across the top of your head, your forehead, your eyes, your ears, your jaw, your neck, your throat, just breathe into it and let it soften. And your shoulders, down your arms, your wrists and hands and fingers. Any tightness, just breathe into it, let it soften. Chest, stomach, your back, down to your hips. If you feel any tightness anywhere, just let it soften. down your legs, your ankles, your feet, your toes. If you feel any tightness anywhere, just let it soften and relax. We're going to start at the top and work our way down, just letting things loosen up. Letting your arms come up with your palms facing. All the movements are like you're moving through a soft resistance, like water. Turn your palms towards your face as you press back in. Drop your elbows, and as you're pressing your head back just a little bit, inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. I'm trying to get just a little bit of one in your neck. So inhale, exhale, and then inhale, and then exhale. Just come back to the center. Your arms come up again, palms face. Either hand, it doesn't matter, but one goes down facing towards the floor with a little bit of a bend in your wrist to activate the acupressure point there. Other arm folds over. There's an upper dantian that's the same thing as the third eye in yoga, and you line up what's called the Lao Gong point or work palace acupressure point in your palm. Keeping your shoulder nice and relaxed, you keep those 2 points lined up as you turn 70% of your range of motion to the side. You come back to the center, the lower arm comes up, hands straight places. Walk to the other side. So inhale to the center and exhale out. Back to the center. And exhale and inhale. Let's do one more on each side. Just let your arms come back down by your sides. Just turn your head to one side again, 70% of your range of motion. Let your chin drop and roll across the bottom. Come back to the center line and go straight across. So exhale down and inhale across. Do one more. And then just reverse. Back to center. And next one for shoulders or shoulder rolls. If you have issues with your rotator cuffs, you just turn your arms so your palms are facing behind you. You do the circles with your elbows. Otherwise, you just move your shoulders around. And then reverse. And then arms come out. First they face down. If you want to do a visualization with this, you can visualize clean yin energy of the earth coming into your palms, clean yang energy, heavens coming into your palms, and then pressing that down through your body and expelling any stagnant energy out through those bubbling wells. Chinese medicine, they see illness, injury is caused by either too much qi or energy, too little, or blockage or stagnation. So one of the purposes in this is just to get everything moving in your body. Exhale down. The elbows, just let your arms come up. Palms come towards you, but not all the way, and out, but not all the way. It's an inhale toward you and an exhale out. And when your fingers are pointed straight up, just pause there and let your hands tilt towards you and away from you. And if your wrists pop when you're doing this, I've never done this when my wrists didn't pop. And then towards and away from each other, especially if you do a lot of keyboard work or work with your hands. And then circles one way. Then the other way. Bring your hands together, palm facing and your forearms together if you can. We're going to do another one for the shoulders. Your arms come back, opening the chest. You inhale, exhale. You come forward, move the muscles in the upper back. Hands come down by your sides and you make soft fists. And the thumbs are always on the outside of a fist. Tai Chi is a martial art. If you put the thumb on the inside, you hit something, you break your thumb. So they always have the thumb on the outside across the fingers. And it's a soft fist. You don't squeeze tightly. If you open your hands and you have fingernail prints, you're squeezing a little bit too tight. This is for the fingers, wrists, and really the whole arm. As you reach out to punch, there's a principle of song in this. And song just means expansion and contraction. So you visualize all the joints in your fingers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, expanding out. Again, you don't lock your elbow, and you come back. It's an exhale and an inhale. There's a couple of versions of this you can do. I'm doing the soft version right now, which is just expanding and curling the fingers back in. And some of the hard martial arts, they do a hard version of it where they reach out and they kind of visualize having a rubber ball in their hand or something like that, and they might actually use a prop for that. But again, you bring your fingertips tightly into your palms. This is a little better for increasing strength. The other is good for increasing the flexibility. One more for the fingers comes from Harvard Medical School. It's also used in a Tai Chi sequence called Rooting Pine, where you have your hands about waist high with your fingertips facing, and on the inhale you visualize your fingers and your wrists expanding out. On the exhale, they relax back. So inhale, exhale. One more. Just flex your fingers and come back to the center. And you'll hold the ball. Log-on points are lined up with each other again. Shoulders nice and relaxed. And the upper arm, you don't want it up here like this. That puts pressure on your shoulder. You just drop it down. Let it relax. Lower hand rotates out, presses up. Upper hand presses down. This one is used for stretching muscles in your back in this particular sequence. In another sequence called 8 Pieces of Brocade, it's used for internal massage. Massage is a big part of Qigong. There's external massage, internal massage. Internal massage of your organs, you get by twists and stretches. And again, they see it as a way to keep things moving through. In this particular one, when your left hand goes up, it's massaging the meridian associated with the spleen. When the right hand goes up, it's the meridian associated with the liver. Just come back to center. The next one is again for your back. So we're going to rotate from side to side, but only from the hips up. It keeps it easy on your knees. Also focuses on your back. So it's a twist from here with your hips staying still. I've got this hand on top, so I rotate to the hip on that side. Turn the hands around, keeping the logon points facing, and come back to the other side. And you can synchronize your breathing so you're inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the other. Just come back to center. If you've been doing this with your eyes closed, it's a good time to open them, because from here on out, most things are going to include balance work. So right now, I'm centered in the middle of my foundation. When I shift all my weight into this foot, I'm centered in the middle of this foot. So this foot is good foundation. There's no weight in it at all. Put my hands to one side like I'm going to press into a wall. This foot just goes out and touches to get some movement in the hip. And I exhale out. Do it on the other side. So it's an exhale and an inhale. I'm just going to do 3. Come back to the center. The next one for the hips are the forward and back motion. So you have your hands down like you're resting them on a banister or a railing. Shift all your weight into one foot. Hands go back just a little bit. Foot goes up, heel touches. Arms go forward, foot goes straight back. Forefoot touches. If you're pretty secure with your balance. You don't even have to put your foot down. You can just let it come up and go back, but you keep your body perpendicular over the foot that's holding your weight. You don't lean forward and go into a warrior three pose. Come back to the center. All your weight goes into the other foot, and it's up and back. And you stay in your comfort zone. You can take small steps or large steps, or have your foot come off the floor and stay off the floor. If you rebalance, you just touch it down in the middle. And then you come back to center. Bring your feet so your toes are pointed towards the corners. Have a little bit of space between your heels. Fists at your hips. And again, they're soft fists. Shift all your weight into one foot. The other foot goes out. Forefoot touches down, and you counterbalance by punching with the opposite arm. You come back. It's an exhale and an inhale. And again, this is one if you feel pretty comfortable with your balance. You can use it as a kick, either a heel kick or toe kick. Or just have your foot over off the floor just a little bit. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. Come back to the center with your feet parallel again. And shift all your weight into one foot. These are for the ankles. It's just first a heel and toe. Same thing on the other side. For the lateral motion in the ankles, you find a spot on the floor just outside and the inside of the touch as close to the same spot as you can. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then being very gentle with your knees and hips and ankles, just shift all your weight into one foot and circle first one way and the other way. Other side. And the other direction. Just come back to center. Harvard Law School and the hospitals affiliated with them use Tai Chi as part of their mind-body medicine program. And in addition to this Tai Chi Anywhere, which is the handling, they have a sequence that's very short, so there's not really memorization to speak of to go with it. But it's also a system that's used in teaching a movement called wave hands like clouds, where you're shifting your weight from one side to the other, where you visualize water going from one leg to the other leg, so you're shifting your weight that way. At Harvard, they call this pouring, and they use it again as a visualization, which has been used at least 50 years or more in healing in the West and improving sports performance. So you just shift your weight from the center of one foot to the center of the other foot and just breathe through your abdomen and just relax. The pouring is visualizing clean, fresh, salt water that's warm. It's the same temperature and salinity as your body. It's pouring from one side to the other. And it's a long sequence. I'll tell you how it goes. You can try it on your own if you want. You start at your toes and work your way up to the top of your head and down to your fingertips. So as we sway from one side to the other, visualize the water going into your toes and cleansing all the cells and getting any impurities out. If there's any adhesions in any parts of your toes, washes over them. And you work your way up. It's also a good balance exercise. It may not seem like it, but one of the issues they found with people losing balance is over time, a couple of things. One is you don't move as much, so those connections between your brain and your muscles go away. You also tend to have less of an awareness of the feelings that your feet get when they're against the floor or the ground. And some of that is just, we tend to wear really thick soled shoes these days. From pouring, it goes into something called the swing, where you start to swing from one side to the other. And the weight goes in one foot, the heel of the other foot comes up off the ground. And it's a twist. In Tai Chi, they do something called silk reeling, which gets its name from the way a cocoon spins when you pull the silk out. And it's twisting at the torso. You bring energy up from your foot, direct it with your waist with a turn, get extra torque there, and express the energy with your hands. You're also massage internal organs. With this one, you visualize your hands are like tether balls attached directly to your spine so your shoulders disappear. You can do this one with your eyes closed, and if you do, you can visualize yourself in a place where you feel very safe and secure and serene. But if swinging back and forth with your eyes closed makes you a little dizzy, you just open your eyes and you look straight ahead at something that's not moving. It's kind of a trick figure skaters use when they spin. They stop and look straight ahead for a microsecond. And then they take it one step more to drumming. Drumming is tapping on acupressure points. And right now, my wrist is hitting just inside the hip in the back. But now it's going to tap in the front first, just inside the shoulder, which is a lung meridian point. And you don't hit hard, it's just a light tap. And then it goes down to just at the base of the rib cage. And then just inside the hip, the inguinal crease. And then lower dantian. Dantian just translates as elixir field. You have a bunch of chakras in yoga. In Tai Chi, you have a lot of acupressure points, but you only have 3 big energy centers. Upper dantian relates to the third eye energy field associated with your brain. Middle dantian, and just go back to swinging. It's associated with the energy field around your heart, or the heart chakra. Lower dantian is basically where the center of gravity in your body is. It's associated with the enteric nervous system, which has many or more neurotransmitters as your brain and can function independently of your brain. So sometimes when you feel things in your gut, you really are feeling things in your gut. And then just come back and relax. Bring your hands up so one hand is like holding your head, the other hand is down about waist high. Loosen up the lower back a little bit and touch your hip out. Arms swing around, keeping the palms facing, loosening up the lower back. Been sitting a lot. Pretty stiff. Think about posture and balance and breathing. You can do that anytime, anywhere. Especially if you're doing something like driving, pay attention to where your head is, how far out from your shoulders it is, and try to bring it back so it's balanced on your shoulders. And just come back to the center. The other thing you can do anytime, anywhere is balance work. Almost anytime, anywhere. Standing in line at the grocery store, you can shift all your weight into one foot. If you have balance issues, you can put fingers on the cart. You just let one foot float up. You have all your weight in the other foot centered over, just nice and relaxed down into it. And you hold it for however long you want. If you need to put your hands or a hand on a wall or a chair, that can really help balance things out. So this one is just like your foot's floating up and you're starting to take a step. There's a program in Tai Chi for Parkinson's where they use this, where the person kind of taps their foot up a little bit too. So if they are carrying something and can't see their feet, it helps them to see where a curve is so they don't trip on it, which is something anyone can do. Shift your weight over. This time your knee floats up, just like you've got a helium balloon attached to it. And relax into it. And then the other side. Foot comes down, it seals to the earth. This time it's like you've taken a step and your heel comes up. And it just floats back down. Same thing other side. And two. Shift your weight over just to let your leg come up, drop your hand on your thigh. You don't have to hit it hard, but just kind of hold it there for a second and then back. Other side. And down. There's a couple of movements too that come from Yang style Tai Chi that there's some evidence can help with mitigating osteoporosis, but it's something you have to practice more than 2 or 3 times we're going to do it. One is called Golden Rooster, standing on one leg. So you have one foot at 45 degrees, sink down into it. This hand on that side is going to be out like it's holding you up. Other hand and foot are going to move together as they often do in Tai Chi. They come straight up the center, toe curls in, fingertips are about chin high, elbow is somewhere near your thigh. And if that's difficult for you, you can just do it like that with your toe again on the floor and visualize it, but you just bring it up and down. Come back to center. The other movement, if I can do without tripping over the cord here, is a kick. So again, foot's at 45 degrees. Hands come up. Knee comes up. First it's a knee kick, then it's a heel kick. And down. Other side. Come back to the center. A lot of movements came from watching animals. So there's a sequence called 5 Animal Frolics or 5 Animal Sports. This is a short version of it. So just relax. Start off with when you may recognize a lot of Tai Chi forms start like this. It's your body's kind of undulating up and down. Hands come up about shoulder high. Fingertips trail on the way up and then they trail on the way down, and you're using the muscles in your upper back. It's an inhale up and an exhale down. Sometimes you might feel your fingers or your hands tingle a little bit or get a little warm or get a little red. And that means you're doing it in a skillful way. Don't worry so much about doing it right or wrong. You learn the principles and you stay within those. But the first time I ever felt my hands tingle was doing this. Come back to center and just balance everything out. First animal is a tiger, and the tiger's getting ready to go for a meal. So you make tiger paws, kind of arch back a little bit, hands come up, reach out, open your hands, and grab, and come down. Inhale up, exhale down. Balance everything out. The next one is a deer, and you're shifting your weight from one side to the other, turning a little bit on that central axis from one corner to the other. Fingertips again trail. When all your weight gets into one side, you bring in the middle finger and the ring finger. You step up with the opposite foot as you shift your weight up. You turn on that heel and you get again that twist. Again, remember 70% of your range of motion. The other side is your exhale and inhale. back to center. Balance everything out. The next one is a monkey, and the monkey is stealing peaches. So do it slowly. As you come up, your shoulders come up, you come up on your toes. If it's trouble for you getting up on your toes, you don't have to. You look to the left, you look to the right, and then you press back down. This one's really good for loosening up your neck. Up, side, other side, down, inhale, and exhale. One more. Balance everything out. The next one is a bear. The bear is already eaten, so he's kind of massaging his internal organs. You make fists with your thumbs towards your stomach. You make circles first one way, but again, you're moving your whole body. It's just not moving your hands around your stomach. Just breathe how you feel most comfortable. And relax and go the other way. Balance everything up. The last of the 5 animals is a crane, and it's again a balance exercise. So shift all your weight into one foot. Crane is a good example of the musculature in Tai Chi. You're relaxed but ready. Your body's relaxed, but it's not like Shavasana. It's a eutonic muscle tone where you're ready to go. Too stressed is too young, too relaxed is too yin. So get ready and up, just like you're getting ready to fly. The other side. Other side. One more on each side. Balance everything out. Bring your hands back down, about waist high. Bring your feet a little bit further apart. There's 2 versions of shoulder width. There's the outsides of the feet line up with the outsides of the shoulder, insides of the feet line up with the outsides of the shoulder, and that's what this one is. Hands are down here, and then your knees. It's another sequence of 5 called 5 treasures. So your hands are doing like an open and close, and they start down here. You're going to wind up with them about up here, and then they're going to work their way down. And you breathe with your whole body. It really is like you're an ocean wave just undulating. So it's an inhale and an exhale. Just like you're moving through water. And then back down. Next one is bringing up chi from the earth or energy from the earth. Your arms come up like you're a tree. Branches are spreading. You come down. Your hips go back. Whenever you make a movement where it looks like you're bending forward, it's really like you're sitting down on a chair. You're keeping your head over your foundation. You're not leaning forward at the waist at an angle. It's just more of a squat. It's an exhale and an inhale. Again, 70% of your range of motion. Again, keep your knees behind your toes. Back to the center. Bringing in heart chi is the next one. In Chen style Tai Chi, they do silk reeling with all parts of their body. So there's this kind of motion with the hand, and it's used in this particular movement. Your hands come back, your hips go back, and they turn in that little circle. They reach out, you grab energy, and you bring it back to your heart. It's an inhale, it's an exhale, and an inhale. This particular movement is a two-parter. So the second, your hands go forward. As your hips go back, you reach out and you pull back. It's like you're swimming. Come back to the center. Bringing down Heaven Chi. Tian Chi is the next one. This one you've already done. It's kind of balancing out everything. Again, breathing with your whole body. Back to the center. You can use this as a standing meditation if you want. We're going to do one last sequence called 5 elements or energies. So first energy is earth, and that's what this is. So just inhale. Exhale. 2 more on your own. Bring your hands up, the middle down to the end, like you're holding the ball. And this one is open and close. It's from metal. You can remember that because metal is mined from the earth. Using the muscles in your back, hands come out like there's an energy trying to keep them together. Then you're able to press it together, but it's resisting. It's an inhale and exhale. This is also just a good meditation move. Back to earth. Metal gives rise to the next energy, which is water. You can remember that through condensation. Again, 70% of your range of motion. Your hips go back like you're going to sit down. So you come down and you come up as you inhale. To earth. Wood is the last one. Next to last one. It's a big circle in front. Back to earth. Then the last one is fire, and wood gives rise to fire, so you rotate to the left hip. So the left hand lines up, right hand's on top, and it's a sideways open and close. rotate to the other side. Come back to center. Then it's massage of the outer part of your body on the energy channels, first down the back and up the front. Just do 3. Your arms come around like you're hugging a big old tree. This is called standing pole or standing stake. If you're studying Tai Chi in a traditional way, you'll hold this pose for a very long time. The first classes you go to, I had a Chinese teacher last semester, and our first class, we did this for probably 45 minutes or so. You can make this as easy or as hard as you want. Making it easier, you bring your feet closer together. Making it harder, it's more of like a horse riding stance. Again, if you just want something to strengthen your legs and your upper body, it's an easy way to do it. You can do it for a specific number of breaths or a timer, or just until you think, I've had enough of that. So we're going to finish this off by just balancing everything out. Hands drop down. It's an inhale and an exhale. One more. Just come back to center. Your left hand is flat where your thumb over, your right hand's a fist, and they come together. Thanks for coming in. I see Lisa Connie's name on there. Thanks for sticking with it. Hope to see you again. Stay safe, stay well. Take care.